All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. We have a great show for you today. We are going to talk casino stocks. We are going to talk about the COVID vaccine, like you just heard Kramer talking about in the preamble there. Tickers that we're going to talk about today, we have on the lower right here, Caesars, MGM, Boyd Gaming, DraftKings, LCA, which is going to be Golden Nugget Online Gaming, and then, of course, the index fund of bets. For our day trading scorecard, we're at 4.5 R for the week, so your R unit depends on you. If it's $100, that's $4.50. If it's $3.50 to make 1,000 each day, you're at $15.75. You can join us live. You can either subscribe to that lower right there on the button that's available to you, or if you want to join us live, go to OTOT now. Only $25 to join us. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome back once again. Here's our flow for the day. First of all, disclaimer up front, this is financial education briefing, so please do your own due diligence before you act on anything that you hear me say today. I do not know your own personal situation. Make sure you have your chat window set up. Make sure you have your Q&A set up. Make sure you have your call sign set up so you're anonymous in a room. Good morning, Daytona. Thanks for checking us out and all the others that are here this morning. Our mission objectives for today, Friday, October 9th, are to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. In particular, today, we're going to talk about the casino stocks and the vaccine bounce. When's the vaccine coming? I don't know. You don't know. But I think that I would put money behind it coming sometime this year, which is like the fastest ever. So when you think vaccines, normally 3 to 4 year process. Trump has obviously put his foot on their throat, and everybody's vested in getting a vaccine out there. We don't want to jump the gun and get a bad one out there. But as far as getting a good one out there, I think we've got a plan in place. So that's exciting. Welcome, Berner. Just saw you joined in us there this morning. For our question of the day, we're going to talk about how and when dividends are paid. There's always some confusion around how dividends actually work. So we're going to get into that at the end of the presentation. For our flow today, it'll be long, short, open, short, long. That means we're going to talk about the market review, go around the world. Our futures are in the green right now. Then we're going to go through some headlines. What's making news today? We've got the unemployment number coming up here soon. Long-term investments we talked about in the intro, and they're right here by my shoulder. We've got the gaming stocks that we're going to take a look at. For our short-term scorecard, determine what your R is. Again, you can either just follow along for entertainment. If you want a paper trade, pick an R, which is your risk unit, how much you're going to risk for today, and then go through the actual drill of getting your tickets set up and practicing in a paper account. If you're ready to do it real time, then please join along with me. Again, we're at 4.5 R this week. Basically, the last two trades were one was an all-day trade. We were kind of stuck in on Wednesday. Yesterday was about a 10-minute trade straight up in BHC. We're going to execute the market open. We'll transition to any questions you have, so please put those in the Q&A. I see the chat starting to light up. Howdy. I like it. And contingencies at the bottom. If you have any issues, there's a tech support number, and of course resources. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, go to ototnow.com and you can learn more. All right, let's go ahead and share out the TD Ameritrade platform, and we'll talk about where we've been as a market for the past year is right here on this screen. So here's what it's looked like. We had the kind of September sell-off. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, wasn't the September sell-off really bad? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, it's 10%, so that's bad. But in relation to where we've been, no, it's more a reversion to the mean. And we're seeing that in several stocks out there, like Luckin, if you happen to follow along the Luckin coffee story. Reversion to the mean, yeah, it went up 22%, came back most of that in one day. I mean, when you see a market scream this higher, it needs to come in at some point. If it continues on this trajectory, that's bad. That means a crash is coming. So it's a good reset here. I think, I've been wrong so far, but I think we reset down into the 320 to 310 range. That'd be another, 8 to 10% going into the election. So far, it hasn't happened. If you were listening in earlier, Kramer's talking on mostly positive stuff. And if there's stimulus, maybe then it doesn't happen. I still owe everybody a podcast. My next episode is going to be on how markets react before and after the market. So before and after the election. So listen into that. It's pretty telling. The punchline is after the election, markets tend to go up 3% over the past 100 years, no matter whether it's the incumbent or a new administration in. When you focus in the last 5 days, though, other than Trump opening up his Twitter and sending out the no more stimulus comment and then walking it back, that's a straight line. So a lot of positivity going into Friday. Fridays tend to be either rip your face off, party on Friday, or gloom and doom Friday. So with that sort of trajectory going in, I think it's going to be up. As far as our day trading list, literally I have 7 names long and 0 short for us to look at. And I hate going long, but it's worked 2 days in a row. So I guess we have to take what the market gives us and go with longs. All right, that's how we'll be set up for our day trading screen. If you're thinking about names to put in there and research while I'm talking, HCA is a good one. NXPI is another good one. And then Tilray, TLRY. So again, if you weren't paying attention, HCI, NXPI, and Tilray. And we'll come back to those here in a minute. All right, let's check out what the CNBC has us doing this morning for the review. Where's my screen? There it is. All right. So here are the futures coming at you on CNBC. We're going to refresh this real quick. All right, 0.5% across the board. Pretty positive sign. Oil down a little bit. We'll get to that here in a second. Asia, pretty well mixed. Big day up in China, though. Big days in China, big days in US. The rest of them are not as have as much of an effect as the China market does. In the green across Europe, that's a good sign. Here's our numbers from yesterday. Pretty much everything up and volatility's down. What more could you ask for? Bonds creeping up a little bit. Oil holding the 40 to above 40 range. Again, 40 to 46 is normal. And then gold and silver kind of popped with everything. So across the board, again, you can trade this going into the election. I'm not going to, but you could buy these and then sell them just prior to the election. All right, let's come back into headlines of the day and see what we have. Ooh, I missed that one. A bloodbath of Watergate proportions. Are we trying to hit some hot button political bingo there, Ted, with all your comments? Bloodbath. Okay, we'll see. I assume he's talking about the legitimacy of the election. The issues yesterday, if you didn't catch it, again, Facebook said right after the election, they're not going to run any ads from either party challenging the legitimacy of the election. So biggest thing is we elect somebody and move on, regardless of whether you got your personal winner or not. All right, AMD in the midst to talk Xilinx, so I'll put that on my XLNX is the ticker there. Probably jumping on that news. I would imagine that's a heck of a company anyway, so it goes on the notes. Ample supply of remdesivir. I still probably am not saying that right, but that's kind of funny. Yeah, okay. Ample supply. You know how quickly your ample supply is going to get exhausted if this thing is actually kind of released. So, all right, I think that's probably more hyperbole. Mortgage bailouts fall below 3 million. So it's one thing, the housing market's been kind of a good news story for most people, but there is some ugliness going on behind the scenes with mortgage bailouts. Gosh, 3 million, that is a lot, even though we are a big country. Still, that's a lot of folks out on their ear, can't pay their mortgage. Okay, Mnuchin, the story of the day is not necessarily vaccine, it's stimulus. I still think it's vaccine long-term. That's why we're talking about it. But, as long as these two are talking, maybe we get something squeezed out the door as far as a focused stimulus. And we'll go from there. All right, don't see anything else popping up. We talked about Domino's yesterday, sold off a little bit. All right, if we get stimulus, I do think it's going to be the 1,200 again if you are in the price range where you are eligible to receive that stimulus. All right, let's take a look at going into our topic of the day. Again, you see it over my shoulder here, casino stocks. So Caesars is kind of one of the bigger names out there. So we'll take a look at how they've done on Caesars, and then we'll look at one other and then go to our big board here. So you have the big sell-off into, so what did we all learn from this? I'm not a big casino kind of guy as far as investing anyway. You know, I like best of breed. I like high margin. I like, low overhead that doesn't fit casinos. So I'm not in these a lot. But if you're in a casino, man, this was the short of a lifetime, right? So one thing I will be more aggressive about doing the next time we see something like this is getting in short. I was cutting and trimming, which is what you need to do, and then just hold the best of breed through. But cut, trim, and then short is certainly next time we're toying with the pandemic word, especially if we think the administration in place at the time is going to lock everybody down again. So we'll see. All right, so it goes all the way down. We have the March 23rd lows, and then there's the path to recovery. This was the 2.5 months in. Everybody was calling for it's over. No, it's not really over as far as being COVID-19. So digestion some more, and then it's kind of on a path to health. So there's that. This is a brick and mortar. Now, when you think of online only, think of the biggest player in the space, which is a Steve Fave as DraftKings. So DraftKings started out as another ticker, which I'm blanking on right now, did the SPAC, special purpose acquisition company, jump up, huge move up to 45, had some congestion as people took profits, and it took a breather for a while. And then again, most recently when football was back, basically, that's when we started the march higher back in DraftKings. Since then, this has reverted to the mean sum. That's 10-12%. Couldn't care less. I did some profit taking early on from the several thousand shares actually I had of this stuff, and I still have over a couple thousand shares. So it's a hold this for the long term. There is a competitor out there, LCA, which is another special purpose acquisition group, which is going to be the Golden Nugget online gaming ticker. So there's a lot more concern there because this is supposed to have happened in October. Well, October is, it's moving fast. It's the third over, and there's no announcements here. So people are starting to get a little nervous with their money. Expect that once the announcement's made, that's going to pop up to around 18 or so. I don't plan on holding that long term. I'm going to take that gain. If I see 18 again, I will probably cash, unless it goes vaulting through it. Then I'm going to hold and see what happens. Last one we'll talk about is the index fund bets. This was fairly new, and look, new shiny penny stuff gets money, right? So this is more money flow than anything else. But I will say that when new things come out, they do get popular very quickly. And, it came out and it's like it popped, and then it's just like, oh, we better take profits, and then it's down, and then it's been a steady march higher. I would not touch this here. I don't mind it as a long-term investable thesis. Gaming. This includes brick and mortar and online gaming. So it's all of it, but really inside the brick and mortar, you're capitalizing on sports gaming. So sports gaming, and as we transition into our day trading stuff, sports gaming, why do we think that's going to be legalized more and more? It's because of taxation. And what else is getting taxed that candidate Harris was talking about was marijuana, right? So that's going to be in our, as we switch to day trading, is what we're going to take a look at, are a couple of marijuana stocks. But let's switch over to Schwab and take a look. Here are our 6 charts that we talked about. We have Caesar, MGM. MGM's, that's about the same chart. We're just on a different time frame here. Can't roll that. There we go. See how similar that is. Yeah, Boyd Gaming is another option. I'm not as big on Boyd Gaming, but it's got a little more durability, and it kept its dividend. So did MGM. Chopped its dividend to 1 penny. We'll talk about dividends a little bit later. There's DraftKings. I like it, and we're up big in it. There's LCA we talked about, and bets as well. All right, we have 5 minutes to go before we go into the day trading portion of the show. Again, 2 days in a row we've taken longs. We've both gotten 3 hours. One we had to wait all day. The other one we got it in about 10 minutes yesterday. So the names we're going to be taking a look at are 2 from earnings, 3 from headlines, and another 2 from upgrades. So we'll look at all 5 of them right now. First of all, the 2 from earnings, MATX, which I don't know what that is, so let's find out together. Matson, volume 73 off the list. All right, HCA. It's a name I threw out earlier to take a look at. HCA Healthcare, low vol, don't like that, so no vol, basically. NXPI, you heard Kramer talking about this if you were turning in earlier. Again, this is an automotive name. Let's type in that correctly, NXPI. NXP Semiconductors, something to do with the brains in an automobile. 134 up to 143. That is a new high, so it'd have to scream higher here. I'm not super in love with that. Let's see if we can find it on the board. I see Xilinx over there. Xilinx up 16%. Wow. All right. Don't see it on, there's NXPI that we're talking about. So 5.5% semiconductor, you know, those names have more to run. And there's HCA right above it, just low volume. So I like NXPI. We'll see if we can find something better. Top 10 volume, we're looking for Tilray next. Marijuana stocks, again, legalization across the board for taxation. That's it. So these things have been crushed. That's why I like them here. Million shares, so that's easy. For volume, didn't quite make the big board. Took 1.2 to make it there. So 615 up to 665, gapping up. Again, the story is legalization, and that's a good news. Actually, I like that. That'll be our number one is Tilray right there. ACB is already gapped out. That's 12% over here, so I'm not even going to look at it. We only need one marijuana stock long. SELB, I don't know what it is, was in the news this morning. Selecta Biosciences has the volume. Ooh, if you want to play this game down in the pennies, this is going to be probably a 5-cent stop. Let's put that up as our number 2. I like that. And then upgrades, we have RKT, which I think is Rocket Mortgage. Well, it says Rocket Companies. Don't know. I still think it's Rocket Mortgage. Let's see if we've got anything down here. Eyes aren't working fast enough. 2 minutes to go. RKT, plenty of volume, 2273 up to 2388, and room to run. I like that. That'll be our number 3. And that is all we need for today. Switching over to TD Ameritrade, you've got 4 screens you're taking a look at that are coming to you now. We've got Tilray that's going in on the left, TLRY. Then we have SELB, SELB going in the middle. That's again 5-cent stop down there. So, or maybe 10, we'll see. I probably can get 5. And then Rocket Mortgage. I like the least, but we'll see what kind of sets up. Again, we take what the market gives us here. So we have nothing on the short side to even look at. All right, so Tilray, we'll look at a boy, that's going to be, we're going to try to get that at a 10-cent stop. We'll have to be very careful with our entry. SLB, we're going to look at a 5-cent stop. So again, when you have short and then about a 25-cent stop should be fine on Rocket. When you get these, we'll talk more about the execution here in a second. When you get these, obviously, if you increase your stop, you increase your odds of it not hitting that stop and you making money. It's just further to go to get to that 3R is what you're looking at there. All right, let's bring this down to right in front of me and pull it up here. All right, welcome to the On Time On Target trade of the day. You've got 4 screens in front of you. On the left, you have the SPY, so we can monitor the market as it opens. These are all 1 minute. We have Tilray, that's our number 1, along with about a 10-cent stop. Then we have SELB with about a 5-cent stop. Be careful, low price point. And the last one is a Rocket Mortgage with a 25-cent stop. So here we go with the opening bell. All right, we'll get zoomed in here. Again, Tilray is my favorite. This is the marijuana theme that is going on with the legalization of it. Potential legalization, I should say. Obviously, we would need that to get passed for that to happen. All right. Let's shrink this down here so we can focus in. All right, I do like the way this is selling off. It's holding that 6%, so we're going to wait for it to come back north at 664. This is a note for me. We'll look for a better entry. That popped up. Ooh, don't like that. We're already looking at a 5-cent stop, and it's already on fire. And over here on Rocket, selling off nicely. It dojied up here to 23.98, so we're not supposed to really take that trade until we get north of that. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. So what's going on in the market? Market's going up a little bit. You see the 0.5% right here. It's giving me a warning that the screen sharing is paused, but I don't think it is. There, maybe it was. Can't tell. All right, so looking at Tilray as our number one, waiting for it to profit taking to go through, and then we'll get in as it goes north of 660. Now, there are some issues when folks are getting in these names, so remember you want to mark it in. So when you get your ticker set up, you want to have a ticker set up for Tilray, calculate your shares for whatever it would be at 660, and then get ready to just mark it. If you try to limit in, you're generally going to miss it. So that can cause some issues. All right, so 660 is our target. We're going to use might even get in a better number here as things sell off. Right now it'd be a 15-cent stop, which is pretty daggone big, and it's starting to fall out of our range, so I'm liking it less and less. We'll see. This jumped up too far, so we're not going to get that. It's well outside of our range. Let's take a look at Rocket. Rocket's decked down out of the 4%. We may have to surf here a little bit because I'm not liking what's going on. Tilray. All right, in the middle screen, we're going to put in HCA. That was a name that had no volume earlier, so I kind of like that long now. So if we got into that, increase, brighten this up here a little bit, it would be in at 140. It's $2.50. All right, Rocket Mortgage is finally flipping. I still like Tilray better, so let's look at Tilray again, looking at the gonna need another minute to go by there. Nope, not gonna get in Rocket there. It's gonna be Tilray looking at 650. It's gonna be a 20-cent stop, so it's got to go up to 710. Could that happen? We'll try to get a 15-cent stop here. I'll call the stop right after I get into the trade, depending on how much congestion it is down here. So again, being patient on Tilray. Rockets all over the map, so I'm getting ready to kill that. I do kind of like HSA up here at 140, but the stop's going to be $1 at least. So we'd have to go 140.10. It's setting up nicely. Yeah, set your tickers up for HCA. We're going in at 140.10. That'll be our primary for this Friday, 140.10, and we will use a $1 stop. I think that's going to hold here, so we don't need it to move too much higher. But 140.10, again, have HCA. Do your math as far as what risk unit you want to take, and then you're ready to mark it in. Again, make a note to myself on where that level is. Again, if Tilray hits 650, so that's why you want to have multiple tickers open. Waiting for 650 there long. Maybe we don't get either of these, so we shall see. Going to start switching my mentality back to longer names. I'm curious to see what's going on with Luckin this morning. Not a whole lot going on there. Going over to a big board over here. See if there's anything inordinately out of the Fire Eyes up $1.50, Clickstream up $2.50. We'll cover those names in here in a minute. All right, market is going higher, 0.6 across the board. It's about right for the NASDAQ, Dow, and S&P. So again, waiting for these names to go higher. They're not. That's down to even, so we're not going into Tilray. Let's take a look at ACB, see if it acted any different. They tend to act the same. Look at that. There was absolutely no action in there. The market's going higher too, so that's unfortunate. Looks like we may not get a trade. We can take ACB off of there. NXPI was on my list and then fell off my list, and that should have been on my list as my number one. Look at this. All right, 142 up to 145, still not a 3-hour move. Probably not going to take it. Probably just call it a week with the without a trade here today. We'll still surf around a little bit. Still have HCA set up if it hits. I do like these dojis down at the bottom. New high of the day would be 140.01. We'll just call it 10 cents. So we would need it to hit a new high of the day and the market to be showing strength to take this. May or may not actually do that. All right, let's take a look at some other names out there. See what Tesla's doing. TSLA. Falling like a rock. See what Caesars is doing since we talked online or gaming stuff. Pretty even for that. See what DraftKings has sold off hard the past 2 days, so they're kind of due for an up day. About even there. LCA again starting to sell off because nobody is. We're not getting the news we expected. Again, that will be a massive long as soon as that is announced. All right, looks like HCA is not hitting, so 6 minutes in, I would want to be in a trade by now, and that's 2 Fridays in a row where nothing's set up. So you have to be patient. If nothing sets up, you don't just take something willy-nilly, so you have to do the right thing. All right, let's take a look at the long-term trades and see what's going on around the markets. All right, leaderboard, Northwest Bio. You know, that's a fun name to be in, and it's more than doubled since our entry point. So golf clap if you're the one that brought that in. Mineral, MNRL, special, supposedly a special dividend coming out. MNRL. This chart has been pretty ugly. Yeah, it's kind of stabilized, gapping up a little bit. So local company here in Austin. All right, let's go back to the SPY. So it looks right. All right, some psychedelic names. Again, those will move up with the same thesis that the marijuana stocks will move up. AV has been in play a little bit. Let's take a look at that. That's AeroVironment drone maker, AV. Got a little bit of love yesterday, then sold off, going back up again. So decent long-term name to be in. All right, so lots in the green. First screen all the way is 0.5% at least. See what's selling off. Luckin selling off. All right, be patient. You just made a lot of money. All right, IBM selling off their big news. Asana selling off. I haven't seen PLTR come off the screen yet at me, so let's see where that is. $10 is kind of the magic number. So here, look at 10 on this screen. So that's what everybody got if you market it in at the IPO, basically when it started trading, the direct listing there. So it keeps hitting 10 and people are buying at 10. So there's a big buyer at 10. So another day trading strategy is just sit there and put a big buy order in at like 10.03, knowing that when it hits 10, it's going to bounce and go higher because that's what it has done. The risk you run there is if at 10, this big buyer that's sitting here, if this is an institution or a big player out there, once it gets exhausted, then you hit 10 and you fall like a rock. So that's the risk in a straight day trading like that. All right, let's go ahead and switch now to we'll take one last look at these charts. Market still up 0.5% on the day. HCA never hit our levels that we wanted, and Luckin selling off. All right, let's take a look at the question of the day is, how do dividends work? This is kind of a review for this crowd, but it's always worth taking a look at. So how and when stock dividends are paid out. So let's look at the key takeaways. Remember, this is just, you have to have the right share. So we only get in Class A shares, which means they have the dividend. Getting into other types of shares are power plays and institutional kind of stuff. So we don't mess with those. If you distribute the dividends, both the date and the amount is determined on a quarterly basis. So this is when you see quarterly earnings come out and then they guide up or guide down based off of those earnings. Then they adjust the dividend if they need to. So that's how that works. Declaration date, they announce the size. Remember, the size of the dividend is actually a dollar amount per share. So it's not the 5% dividend. it's, you know, 5 cents a share per year. And if the stock is worth $1, well, that equates to 5 cents, 5%. But if the stock doubles, like a stock's on the run, obviously the yield, the percent, because the dividend stays the same, the percent is what adjusts down. So you can be in a situation like Ford where it's paying a 5% dividend for a long time. Well, if the stock price starts down, the dividend percent will start to increase. But sometimes, you know, eventually you'll run into a payout ratio issue, which we talked about earlier in the week, and then they will either cut or eliminate their dividend. In Ford's case, they did eliminate it. So it can happen. The record date is the first one. That's where you must be on the company's books to get the dividend. So that's a few days before. You have the record date, and then you have the ex-dividend date, and then it actually pays out on the payment date. So that can be delayed. So you can, if you're moving accounts, say you're moving from TD Ameritrade to Schwab, if your accounts move after the ex-dividend date, but before the payout date, even though your account's gone, the dividend is going to go into TD Ameritrade into a zero balance account, giving you a balance. And the computers are smart enough to be able to reach back and check for stuff like that. So those dollars will just flow back over and they'll get transferred in a secondary transfer. If you've ever seen stuff randomly show up in your accounts, for about the first 60 days after an account transfer, you'll get residual stuff kind of coming in. That's more housekeeping kind of stuff, not particularly huge things. So people always ask, does the stock price drop by the amount of the dividend when it's paid out? Technically, the answer is yes. So if the company just pays out a penny per share on, pick a date, today's date, Friday, October 9th, if they pay out a penny per share, technically their stock price is worth 1 penny less right away. However, stocks trade on an open market. So the first 2 idiots on the planet that agree to a price now override that 1 penny change. So, I mean, it's theoretical, if you will. If a company was paying out a 10% dividend, then yes, you might see the actual stock price move and reset down. But usually it's just kind of lost in the noise. Any strategies based around buying a stock, waiting for the dividend to pay out, and then selling that stock are break even. There's no money to be made there. Otherwise, literally everybody would do it because it's free money. So don't think there's some magic there. All right, that's all I've got for you today. Hope you like the new format and the new slide and all that stuff. Give me some feedback if you would like. And with that, I'll let you guys go, and we'll talk to you on a Monday. You have a great weekend.